Okay, let's try it here now. Okay, see, let's see. Share, let's see. Invite friends to watch. Yes, there we go. It has to be, we figured, bring them on camera, add.
There we
Okay,
go.
there we go. Okay, so it must be that it can't be on a pages, it has to be on a personal Facebook page. So
Oh,
So because on my personal one, it's working perfectly fine now. So that's fine. We'll just go with it.
hmm
Okay, so you guys, I was just doing an interview with Micheal, and it's going to be on my YouTube channel later. But we were getting into some really good stuff, and the interview was already going a little bit longer than what I usually do. So I'm like, you know what? Let's hop over to Facebook. Let's just do this because we were getting into. We're not going to go over the stuff we did in the interview. You guys can catch that later on the replay on my YouTube channel, and I'll let you know when it's up. Um, but we were just talking about the really good stuff and about how the one thing I like is there's not very many men that do this work. And I was telling him, I said, I'm so glad. And he said, I still will have a beer. I'll still eat meat. Like, and it's so funny because I'm the same way. Like, there's been so many people that tell me, oh, you can't drink coffee and do this work because it's not good for you. And I'm like, I drink coffee all the time, and it has not ever slowed down any of the, intuitive messages that I get. So that being said, we were talking about that, and when I cut you off on the interview because we wanted to come to Facebook, and then we've had all kinds of technical issues trying to figure that out. We were
Yep.
talking about how you said that you had read something from John Edwards where he said you had to become more sensitive or something, and I was like, but you're a
Uh,
guy's guy, like that's that doesn't make sense to me. So let's talk a little bit more about that.
sure. Yeah, it was this is like years ago, probably at least 10, but I had bought a set of his CDs that talked about how to connect and all that because it was just like I said, I have read all these books and all that, so it interested me. I was like, all right, let me give this a try. Well, there was one thing that caught my attention in that CD set that kind of turned me off to this was he said you have to work on becoming more sensitive. And you might have to tell the people around you that you're working on this, so you might start crying a little bit more and becoming more sensitive. I'm like, no, this is definitely not going to work for me. Um, so I tried those tapes and all that. And I was just like, no, that doesn't work for me. I am who I am. And, so when this stuff started happening, and I realized I could do this, literally nothing has changed as far as what I do on my daily routine. Um, people believe that you can't get annoyed with people. You can't have these human emotions. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I'm Italian and Irish. That's a terrible
that's a high headed.
combination. I can lose my temper at a drop of a pin. And, the one thing I want people to know is you can still be you. It's not, you can still get angry at people. You can still do what you do. And all I can relate is from my personal experience with all this, and nothing has changed my connection to the spirit world.
Right, right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Um, so again, I can only give you what I experience, and that's it. I'm still me. I can be an ass at times. I can still be me. So,
Right.
and we kind of touched on that. You said, because there is not a lot of guys that do this, and I think it's a lot of just misinformation. They feel probably the same way I did that they have to become this guru and they have to start talking about chakras and, balancing themselves and all this. And, hopefully I can,
Getting
I can,
grounded. That was always
yeah,
the one that I had is the getting grounded. I'm going to turn that off. It's really, really, it feels really, really bright to me with this setting on. Sorry, I'm getting to see,
that's
we were
okay.
talking about that earlier going squirrel. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I'm at
Oh
right
yeah.
now. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm like on camera, like
Yeah.
there's light right here. But no, I think you're right. The first time I ever heard somebody say, well, you need to get grounded, I was like, you mean like rebar? Like,
Yeah.
because I was thinking like a hot fence and you've got to have something to ground it to. I mean, that was literally the first thing I heard was, or when they told me I had to get grounded, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, and that was my redneck. I was like rebar? You like got to ground it like a rebar? So
Oh my
anyway,
God.
it was really, really funny. So what we were talking about in the interview too is how normal people can have these gifts and they may not know it or understand it or don't know. They think it
Right.
has to be a certain way or you should do this or you should do that. And you know, like you should give up coffee. You should only eat vegetarian. You should only do that. I still go out to, you know, fast food. I still have my coffee every morning. Like all of those kind of things hasn't changed. I think the only thing that I really have done more for myself and not really because I like have to connect
Hmm.
or whatever is just I did learn how to meditate and I did learn, you know, the importance of breathing, but that was more to get my own physical self healthy. I don't feel like spirit changed in how they communicate with me at all,
Yeah.
other than maybe
Meditation.
now I acknowledge them a little bit more.
Yeah, and meditation too, and it's important to me too, but I think people need to be aware that it's not just sitting there with your legs crossed, eyes closed,
And going,
chanting something.
yeah,
That's fine if that works for you, you know. To
yeah,
me, what it is just taking whatever, for me, for instance, I play drums. I'll go down and play drums for
hmm
5, 10 minutes. You know, so if you want to talk about grounding and just, you know, just completely just forgetting the outside world, that's basically what it is, and just staying in the moment. If it's for
that's
5 minutes, you
That's
know.
what I was just going to say. Meditation, that's a really good point too. I remember in Colorado, this oh I don't even know how a couple 3 years ago. I don't even remember how long ago this was. I was teaching meditation classes because again, people have this misconception of what meditation is. You
Yeah,
don't have to just be like a monk sitting in a monastery just meditating all day. It can be 2 to 3 minutes, and
yeah,
it's when you can, and I don't even think like emptying your mind is the right thing. It's when you can focus
yeah,
on just one thing. So,
yeah,
like a lot of times I'll tell people I can meditate doing the dishes because all I have to think about
exactly.
is washing the dishes and feeling, feeling the water and feeling the warmth and watching the bubbles. And so that's the only thing I'm paying attention to in that moment, you
Yeah,
know?
when I was in the military, and I reflect now, it's like, wow, that was meditation. But I used to iron all my own uniforms.
Yeah.
And for me, I like doing it because I would just sit there and do it, and it was kind of like everything else just went away for those 5, 10 minutes, whatever it is.
Because you don't
Um,
have to think about it, right?
no,
Somebody
and
else
that
just
could be
said when they
anything.
fold laundry. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I totally agree with that. And a lot of people don't understand that what that's called is, I call it active meditation. You're
yeah,
actively physically doing something. So like if you like to run and you don't have to, if you know the path and you don't have to pay attention to where you're going and you just run it,
yeah,
that's active meditation because you're not really focused on anything. And if you wanted to make it an even deeper meditation, you can just focus on your feet hitting the ground,
yeah.
right? And so
There's
yeah, it can be anything just to kind of calm down the mind a little bit.
And I think the other misconception you hit on it too is people think they have to empty their mind. And I heard this saying, and it makes me laugh too because I forget who said it, but it's basically like there's only two times in your life where you're going to completely just empty your mind. One if you're a Buddhist monk, and the other if you're dead. So either you become enlightened or you're now dead. Congratulations, either way. And I'm like, yeah. And that is not the purpose of meditation. You will never empty your mind. You're always going to have those thoughts. The thing is just to let those thoughts go.
Hmm.
They're going to come in. The thing is just don't focus on them and let them go, you know? And
So what's your favorite technique to do that? Like if you are in a place where you're trying to meditate and you get thoughts coming in.
I just concentrate literally because I was taught this was pay attention to the nose or the air going in and out of your nose.
Hmm.
Focus on that and don't be surprised if 10 seconds later you get a thought, but just let it go, refocus.
Hmm.
And don't get annoyed with that. But
Because it's
and
normal. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna have those thoughts. The thing is just stay in that moment. And like you said, it doesn't have to be, an hour.
It can
For
be five
me,
minutes.
yeah. And the
Yeah.
thing is too, and I've learned this too with connecting, what it does as far as the mediumship side of it, because it takes a lot of concentration for me to stay to shift my awareness to them to where I'm paying attention. So what meditation does for me, and I'm not religious about meditation, I'll go weeks without doing it, but I do it when I feel like it. But what it does is it trains your mind to stay in that just
To
to
stay
empty your
focused.
thoughts. And the other
Hmm.
thing I thought, this I have to share because John Edward made a point. I seen this on YouTube, and it was just like I've tried to describe to people how this works, and he did it in 5 minutes where it would take me an hour. But basically, he was telling the interviewer, it's like this: it's like we all daydream. We all have caught ourselves in a daydream where you're staring out a window, just empty thought. You do it while you're driving.
Yep.
That's how it is when I'm connecting to spirit. It's like I'm in this daydream state to where my mind is just
You're just in a zone.
blank. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm in
like
the
the
zone
people
and
say,
I'm
have you ever
paying
zoned
attention.
out? Yeah, totally zoned out.
That's
That's,
exactly what this feels like to me.
yeah,
And I look back now and I remember my report cards from second grade saying he's a daydreamer. He's, blah, 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 blah. And now it's like it's the biggest compliment because I am a professional daydreamer because that helps in so many
it does.
ways doing this. It's like that's all it is. I can snap into a daydream state on a, drop of a pin, and that's where I need to be to channel messages. So it's like that's how it is for me. The experience of doing this. I'm just in a daydream state. My mind's relaxed, and some people it does. They have to meditate for 5, 10 minutes before to get in that state. It's different for everybody. For me, I can just I don't know if it's a natural born thing, but I can just shift to there, and there I am.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Okay, so there's two things I want to talk about. If you're trying to learn how to meditate and you get the thoughts pop up, I have two techniques that I use.
Hmm.
The first one is if you really want to get in that place where you're learning how to meditate, if as soon as you get frustrated that a thought comes in, it's pulling you out of the meditation. So if you're doing a meditation and you imagine, like I love being out in nature and like by
Hmm.
streams and stuff like that. So you know how sometimes you'll see as the river's flowing, there'll be like, and you have to do like a stream because a river would be probably going too fast. But if you can imagine just kind of a lazy stream going on and a leaf kind of floating down, like
Yeah,
I just say, don't get frustrated with the thought. Just put it on the leaf and let it float because it's going to, I mean, if you need to remember it, it'll come back when you're not trying to meditate. But as
yeah.
soon as you get frustrated, like don't do that. But I had another girl one time, she goes, yeah, but when I'm upset about something, like I can't let it go that fast. So she had to imagine it like being in this little cocoon. And then once she was able to let it go, then it could break out and be a butterfly and flow away. Right. So,
Yeah.
or you can put it in a bubble and let it go away. Like however it works for you. So don't get frustrated. If you're trying to learn how to do that more disciplined meditation, like it's okay if you want to do that because it is good for your health. Like plain and
Yeah.
simple, it's good for your health to slow down for a little bit. And then I just had two things, and now what was it? See, squirrel. I got sidetracked
Squirrel.
again. Squirrel. Um, dang it. I just had, oh, I know what it was. You said everybody, and I agree. We all have this ability. It's just a matter
Yes.
of how we do it, right? So
Yeah.
for you and I, it might be like this. I do know other mediums and psychics that it takes them a minute. They've got to tune into the energy. And I used to be like that. Like I used to be like, okay, I really want to get clear, but I was putting pressure on myself. I didn't really need it. And now I'm
And
like,
yeah.
I didn't, but I thought that's how I was supposed to do it. So let go of how everybody says you should. That should,
Yeah.
I hate that word. Like you don't should anybody. But the other thing is everybody that's human has an intuitive divine
Yes.
connection inside them somehow. The thing that I always laugh about is it's just like playing baseball. Everybody can do it. It's just some of them are better at it than others, right? So
That's my
like,
analogy too that I've
is
used. It's
it?
like, oh my God, yes, because I tell people it's like, yeah, because there are people that try to force themselves to be a medium, and I'm sorry, it's like like you just said, everybody has the ability, but it's weird. I use that exact analogy. Everybody can go out there and play sports recreational wise, baseball.
Right.
Not all of us are meant to be in the major leagues,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's how I relate it. That, you know, yeah, you can do this, but are you going to be a professional medium someday? Well, if it's an innate ability that's meant to be, I believe it will be, you
Well, and I
know?
think that's it, if it's meant to be and if it's your calling, because we
Yeah.
kind of touched on this on the interview too, um, that it's like, I don't know anybody that would like step up and say, I'm going to just learn how, like in
Oh my
baseball, you
God,
either
no.
have the natural talent or you've got to practice every day for your whole life. Like
Yeah.
I would never want to practice like that. And I wouldn't have the discipline to be on a major league baseball team. Like
Uh,
it
Oh,
just wouldn't happen. So, I
no.
mean, anybody could, but you've got to really to step into the work. I think you're right. You have to have that really innate like calling for it. Like it's got to be part of your soul path and your divine purpose to do it because
Yeah.
it is hard. Like we talked about that too. So for everybody that's coming on, I can't remember if I said this. We tried to get this video going. This is our third time. So third time's the charm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so we had just done an interview and it'll be up on my YouTube page later. We did an interview earlier and we were talking about stuff and it was so good that I didn't want to like finish. I didn't want to quit the interview. So I asked him, I said, hey, do you have some time? Let's go Facebook Live. And so
Yeah.
that's what we're doing now. So you guys can all catch the replay or the interview on the replay on YouTube and I'll get that information out later. But I really wanted to go over, does anybody have questions? We have quite a few people on. If anybody has any questions right now, we had some really good comments about meditation and how people do it. Somebody said they like cleaning the stalls, and somebody said making jewelry, and all of those kind of things are really good. Those would be considered an act of meditation, because when you're doing something that you have that singular focus, it
Yeah.
slows your brain down enough to be able to have that. The other thing I think is really important is breathing, which again, that's not to be able to be a medium. It's just for your physical health. It's really important. It's something that I've caught myself not doing, and I want to get back into that practice. So I'm kind of saying that for myself more than anything. But for those of you that don't know, for those of you that are I know I've seen some people that know you, Micheal, so they already know that you're a medium. For the other people that are coming in that don't know, Michael's a medium that I met here in North Dakota. And yeah, I thought it was coming to North Dakota and I was going to take some time off. Yeah, didn't happen. The
Nope.
spirit had other things in mind because I got lined up with all kinds of really great people up here. So it's been really, really good. But that being said, does anybody have any questions? And I don't know where everybody's at on hearing this, but we're talking about how John Edwards had said, you just turned yourself sideways.
I'm trying to figure
Yep.
out if I can. There we go. I
There you
was
go.
trying to find comments. Now I can see
Oh,
them again.
are they
So
on? Okay.
now I can see.
Mostly everything I've seen so far has been about the meditation that we were talking about. But the one thing that I want to kind of reiterate is because you're just a guy, like you're just a normal average guy, right? And you had even said, I still drink beer and I still eat meat. And like, I think that's really, really important right now for people to know that this is a normal thing that normal people are being awakened to, right? So the one message that I'm getting out for like, I feel like is a really, really important thing right now. Somebody says, yeah, I catch myself holding my breath. I do that too. It's so weird. So the one thing that my message is right now that I really want to get out to people is that everybody has a divine connection, and we need, like, it's
Yes.
really important right now to find that, because people are waking up like bam, like all of a sudden somebody that's never had this experience is like, I just had this weird experience. I have nowhere safe to talk about it. Like, what do I do? So I just want you to know that there are, and we're getting some questions. I want everybody to know it's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. You know, I was raised in a Christian religion, so like, don't worry, like you're not going to hell. Like, this is
I was
not
raised
something.
Catholic, Roman Catholic,
Yeah,
so yeah, I
yeah.
know that.
So, let's see, any resources you recommend? I have spirits that pop in, but no control. Okay, so I know what I would say, Caitlin, is first of all, set up your boundaries. So it's just like being human. You kind of have a little bit of boundaries. One of the things that and I'll let Micheal answer this too, so that you have two perspectives on it. The one thing that I tell people that are mediums, when they don't feel like they have control and like spirits just kind of bombarding you at all different times of the day or whatever, obviously that means they're trying to get your attention. So I tell people to literally like imagine setting up a shop and be like, okay, I'm open or I'm closed, because otherwise you'll be 2 o'clock in the morning and they'll be waking you up at your bedside because they want to get a message through. But that isn't healthy for us either. So if you feel like if you feel like you're a medium and you are not sure what to do, first of all, reach out to somebody like me or Micheal. Start finding out, how do I do this? How do I work with it? You know, those kind of things. Surround yourself with other people that understand it so that you don't feel, you know, scared or freaked out or whatever that is. But I really tell people, imagine whatever your favorite kind of shop is, like, you know, a cupcake shop or Starbucks or whatever it is, and like just put a sign up there that says open and close. But if you do that, you've got to understand that if you're going to open that, you kind of want to have some basic ideas of how to do that. Again, spirit's going to talk to you. So if you're getting bombarded with them, though, kind of get some spiritual help so that you can line them up, so to speak, so that they're not all talking to you at once, because
Hmm.
that's also overwhelming. So do you
Yep.
have a setup like that where you tell spirit, okay, this is when I'm going to talk to you and this is when I'm not? Or do they just,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Fortunately, when this all started, I immediately got into that class I was telling you about with Mimi, and that was one of the first assignments we had, was setting up boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And this is before I knew what the heck I was doing and all that, but it was so important. Now I look back, and the way she said it was literally like, write it down and
Mm-hmm.
be specific. And I got to find this piece of paper. I know it's around here somewhere. It's like 2 pages, but
Right.
literally it's like, I said, okay, the only time you're allowed to contact me is when I'm open for business. If I'm sitting down to do a reading, come on in. Loans. Um, so they will listen.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, you have to remember is you're in charge, not them.
That's what I was just going to say, because you're the one in charge. The other thing is too, though, the one thing that I'm noticing, and I don't know if this is how it is for you, but I know a couple of my friends who are like, it's almost like spirit will teach you as well. So
Oh yeah,
that's the other thing, is I don't have the formal training. And I know that frustrates a lot of people because they're like, well, how do you do this? And I'm like, I just listen to my guides. But I mean, my guides have been around since I was little. So to me, it really wasn't that off the wall.
yeah,
Um, and so you when it's time for you to step into the next phase, like a girlfriend of mine just had all of these spirits like show up, and she's like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm like, well, they're ready to give you messages. And she's like, for what? And I'm like, I don't even know if it matters. I think it's just to kind of get you in the space of, okay, let's start doing this. The thing
yeah,
is, if you tell them I'll talk to you at 3 o'clock, you better be ready to talk to them at 3 o'clock, because
yeah.
chances are they're going to be there. Like, time to them is irrelevant, but they will respect your boundaries here.
Oh,
um,
definitely.
Somebody said no disembodied heads in the mirror. Yeah,
No.
been there too. Let's see. Okay, I think Caitlin, hopefully that answers your question. I don't know if you're in my Facebook group or not. I have an Embodied Grace community Facebook group. We do talk about some things like this. I talk about the metaphysical stuff a lot more in my membership group, which is a private group. Um, And then let's see, somebody says, yep, they set up a gatekeeper, which is kind of like a guide. Kristen says that I helped her. We literally had to set up hers. I hope you don't mind if I tell Kristen, but for hers, I was like, we got to call you in a bouncer. And like she had such a long line of people that it was almost like going into a theater. And those old fashioned, like the red rope things, like we had to line
Oh my
spirit
God,
up
that's
that
how
way. Is that how you do it?
my
That's,
sister, when I first started, she was my gatekeeper. And
yeah.
literally all that, my two brothers too would pop in to help her, but it was literally like those velvet red ropes, and it'd be like one at a time. When I'm channeling, it's like, I don't want a gang of people. You better send them one at a time.
Send one at a time.
And
Yeah.
that's literally how I pictured it. I was like,
Yeah,
so that's
and
funny.
it is like, and that's what, I now there have been some younger kids that I told them it's okay to put a sign on the door that says under construction or remodeling, or
Yeah,
those kind of things, because if they're not ready to step into that work yet, they
yeah.
don't want to feel scared and having spirits come in all the time with them.
Oh yeah,
So I will do that. Like, we do a little, again, we're going to go back to meditation. We do a little kind of quiet meditation where we're like, okay, we're going to go up, we're going to design the store of however you want it to look and whatever you want it to be. And then we're going to shut the door, and you're either going to put, I'm closed, I'm under construction,
yeah.
these are my hours, like renovation, like whatever you need to do. Because if you're under renovation, you're not sure you really want to have the gift, you have the boundary to decide how
Oh
spirit
yeah,
interacts with you.
oh
Yeah. And
yeah.
I think that's a huge thing to know too, because there's so many movies and so many shows that kind of portray it, and it makes it, I mean that's what movies are for, right? So
Right, right. The
yeah.
drama.
Yeah. So
Um, but no, and I know there's people that are a heck of a lot more sensitive to this than I am. Um, I've heard people say that no matter what they do, they can't completely shut it off, you know, and all I can, again, just from my perspective, is it's rare that I have somebody showing up trying to talk to me when I'm not ready for
when
it.
you're, because
Um,
it's boundaries.
oh yeah, and good
Yeah.
example, I used the analogy a couple times. It's like I could walk out in front of a bus, my sister could be screaming at me to stop, and I wouldn't hear it. A good example is I ran into a freaking 2x4 in my head the other day walking
Oh
out of this
jeez.
construction. And again, I didn't even, I didn't hear a word until I hit that damn thing. So again, I'm not aware of anything
Because you're
going
not
on.
turned on. Mm-hmm.
No. And maybe it's just I've learned, from the beginning. And again, with the classes, I only took a couple. The rest of it, I'm figuring
Is
out for
natural.
myself because I've
Mm-hmm.
had this, and it's a thought that's recently hit me probably within the last 6 months. It's like the only person you need to you don't, I'm gonna try to put this in the right context
Yeah,
for
just say
me.
it.
Um, I believe you don't need any help. I
Yeah.
believe if you sit down and you just listen, learn to listen, whether it's through meditation, that's all the guidance you really need. And
Mm-hmm.
literally, I enrolled in a class that was a year and a half long last year, and 4 months into it, my sister, my brothers, my guides are like, you need to stop taking this class. You don't need it.
Yeah.
And I was getting so frustrated with it because they're like, you already know what you're doing. You already have. And literally, I felt it, and that's why I was so frustrated. So I walked away from the class, and within a few months, I got back into my work. But it was like, and they pop in every now and then and tell me it's like you're fine on your own. You don't need anybody to tell you how to do this. It's
Right.
there. And I've heard other mediums that have said the same thing, that they've tried to take classes, and even the teachers become aware it's like you need to stop taking this class because this is going to screw you up.
Right, right. Because
So
you've got to trust, especially those of us that are called to do it in this way, right?
yeah,
So, I agree with that because I did all my own, I mean, realistically, all my own training. And I know I get that.
but that's
I
you
know
though.
sometimes like,
That's
well, how
good.
did you train? And I'm like, well, I really didn't. I kind of, just have done it myself. So I want to go back through. So Dana just asked, how did this all start? So Dana, just so you know, we did an interview before this that I recorded. That's going to be on my YouTube channel. And actually the interview was going so well, I didn't want to stop, which is why we came over to Facebook Live. And then Annette says she wished she saw it from the beginning. So don't worry, I'll post it so you'll be able to watch the replay if you're missing anything. And then somebody else says, sometimes I know they're trying to get my attention, but I'm distracted. So you're right. Like sometimes you are just distracted because you still have to have life too, right? Which is why the boundaries comes in. So if you
Yeah.
want to start getting like tuned back in, then you just have to take time for it. That's all.
It's
So
literally you learn how to shift from one mindset to the other. For me, like I said in the interview, I just put my awareness behind me. That's how I channel spirit. That's where they
mhm.
come in. But you hit on something there. We're here to be human. And this is the part that I kind of get up in arms about a little bit, because people can take this way too far where they start to rely on spirit for everything
Or they
and
think
they want
everything is
the
a spiritual.
answers. Oh my God, yes. And the thing is, they start to lose themselves because they can no longer make a decision for themselves. They have to ask spirit. It's like, no,
Mhm.
stop that. It is great to have the connection. You're born with that connection. Just understand and know that. But the thing is, you got to live your life. That's why you're here.
Right.
You know, um, and I've said this before. Sometimes your nose itches just because it itches. It isn't somebody trying to get your attention.
Right. I
You
know.
know,
Yeah, that's so great to hear you say that too, because again, my friend Kristen Himstad and I've got to connect you to somehow because it's so funny because we're all about this. Let's not have any fluff and bullshit. Like, let's just
I
talk
am
about it
not
real.
about the bullshit and
Yeah.
fluff. It's like, you know what? No, it's like they're there. I connect when I need to, when I want to.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah. So we
oh God.
actually we actually did God, what did we call, so Kristen and I did this webinar. I'm trying to remember what it was called. I think we called it embracing the shit or something like that, because it's like, and the reason that we did that is because we had so many people going, well, what does this mean? What does this mean? And I'm like, sometimes, oh, embrace the suck. That's what it was. Because sometimes life just sucks. Like it
Oh my
doesn't
God.
have to be a spiritual thing. You don't have to be going through some transformation. Sometimes it just happens. You know what I mean? Like shit happens. Like, so not everything is always, I mean, there are some things, don't get me wrong. There are
Oh
some
yeah.
things that are definitely part of the spiritual journey,
Yeah.
but you're absolutely right. We are supposed to be in this human life. Like it's part about being here and learning and enjoying it and actually being present in life too. So I love that
Yes.
you say that, because that's how I am too. It's like you still have to be human and you still have to do life the way you want to do it. So
Yeah.
I
You
love
take the
this no
good, the
bullshit and
bad, and
fluff.
oh no. Yeah.
So yeah.
Anybody that knows me knows that yeah.
Yeah.
I could get on a tangent on that stuff because
For
some
way
stuff
too, I
drives me
know, I'm like, we
nuts.
should look and see what time it is. We're probably way
Oh, I
past,
got
but
plenty
that's
of
okay.
time. I
Okay.
got plenty of
Well,
time.
so what else should we talk about then? I've got a few more minutes too. I'm like, it looks like it's almost a quarter after noon. So
Yep.
does anybody have any questions? Let's just see if there's any questions. I think I asked about the
Oh,
replay that
now
shows
my
about all your
daughter's watching
stories.
too. What are you doing? You should be at work.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so I know a couple of these ladies are on here, but I'm not seeing any questions pop up. But you know what? I really did enjoy this. Just for everybody that's still watching, I will get the YouTube interview uploaded and I'll get the link dropped in here so that everybody can watch that as well. And then we'll have to do this again because it was really fun.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
There's so much you could talk about, but bottom line is like you're you for a reason. Be you. Don't, yeah, I'll get off on a tangent. I already know, but yeah, you can be you. I'll just leave it at that. You can still be you and do this work if that's what you're supposed to do.
yeah.
Um, so Be
No, I
normal.
agree with that. Just be, yeah, just be yourself. Let go of all the shoulds of everything. Cause that's the other thing I don't, oh, you should do this and you should do that. And if you're spiritual, you'll do this. And oh my gosh, then we just get into a whole nother, again, I could get off on a tangent on that too. So I really agree with that. I think it's great. I think everybody does have a divine connection and you can be a normal everyday person, which is
Yes.
kind of why we were doing this interview anyway. So again,
Yeah.
thank you so much. And
Oh no, thank you.
I'll get all of the, I'll get everything uploaded and I'll tag you and everything so that we've got it up. So, all right, we'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.
Bye bye.
Bye.